Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Albion Obsessed, the first episode with our new co-host, Curtis. Welcome, Curtis, to the full-time setup. We have actually announced some really exciting news on Twitter over the last few days that we are actually going to be interviewing on Wednesday the legend that is Peter Ward. So keep your eyes out for that one, guys. Should be a really good chat. I spoke to him on the phone the other day to arrange everything. Such a lovely guy, and we can't wait to have him on. On today's show, obviously, we'll be reviewing the. Oh, I'm sure he'll join in again in a second. We're going to be reviewing the Newcastle versus Brighton game at the Amex. A little bit of a dour one, but we'll get into all the details soon. Introduce our guest, Chris. You were on the live stream the other day, so I'm sure the viewers that have a look at that are familiar with you now. And we've got Dan on for the first time. Dan, how are you, mate?
I'm not too bad, thanks, mate.
Good stuff. So I don't know if you've watched the last episode, but we do have some icebreaker questions now that we like to ask our guests. And yeah, you're the only one that we haven't asked them yet. So here they come. I hope you're prepared.
Try to be.
What's your favourite in at the stadium? At any stadium, could have been away as well. I know you go to away days a lot.
Yeah. Probably Jahan Bash's bicycle kick, probably. Would probably be the best one.
Yeah, that's up there for probably quite a few people.
Yeah.
So yeah, good choice. And who is your favourite Albion player of all time?
For me, probably like Bruno. Just the way he can play for his age in the Premier League when he was playing for us, just incredible.
Yeah, he's well up there with the legend status. I'm sure if fans were to ask who should be built a statue, it would probably be him, captaining us to the Premier League, and obviously captain in the Premier League as well. So yeah, good choice. Oh, Curtis has just joined us again. There he is. Oh, it's all right, mate. Don't worry about it. And what is your go-to Albion shirt for a match day? We know that you are the king of the selfies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's your go-to shirt?
For a match day, I generally just go for whatever one they wear. It's sort of like a superstition. I always think if I don't wear the right one, they lose or get a draw. So
yeah, I thought, to be honest, I thought that because against Man City, I wore the Hyperturk away shirt to a home game, and we got battered. So I was like, I'm never doing that again. So I wore the right shirt yesterday. Sorry, Curtis, we can't hear you, mate. You might want to try and join again. Technical difficulties at Albion Obsessed HQ. Fair enough. If you had to pick one shirt to wear for the rest of your life, what would it be? Brighton shirt.
Green and black. The away one.
Green and black. Yeah. I can't remember who picked that. Was it you, Chris?
No, it wasn't me. I was the skin white away shirt.
Oh, yeah. So I think someone on the live stream picked that. Toby, I think, actually. Sorry, Toby. Fair enough. Yeah, good choice. I got Will Buckley on the back of mine. Iconic player to wear that shirt. So, yeah, I guess we'll just go on to speaking about the game yesterday, guys. We all predicted sort of a relatively comfortable win. But it didn't turn out that way, Chris. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think we were great first half. I think that cliche, if you don't get the second goal when you're on top and dominating, the team, the opposition's always in the game. And as it turned out, they obviously hit us with a sucker punch. I think it's their only shot on target, looking at the stats. So I don't remember them really troubling Sanchez apart from that. And yeah, it's only ourselves to blame, I think. See, we get that second goal going in at half time. I think the game's over because they didn't really offer a great deal, Newcastle.
No, I go to the football with my mum, and I was saying to her towards the end of half time, not half time, sorry, the first half, that a second goal here kills them 100%.
Yeah.
And that was our problem last season. We weren't finding that killer instinct in front of goal, and it seems to be creeping in again a little bit, which I'm a little bit worried about. Obviously, against Norwich, we weren't clinical at all, and against Newcastle, a team that looked quite shaky, to be honest. They didn't quite know how to deal with us. But then we gave them time at half time to readjust, and they came out second half and dealt with us quite well. Dan, did you manage to get to the game?
Unfortunately, I was at home for the game.
Oh, okay. So a little bit of a different perspective here. How did it look on TV?
On TV, it's sort of like for the first half, it looked comfortable, dominant. Obviously, got that penalty, which I knew was a penalty straight away. I was sitting there thinking, why? You keep checking over and over again. You can see he got clipped. Second half, I think we got comfortable ourselves, and then they wanted to fight a bit more for the win. I think maybe Video did at least a point, but it was a completely different team performance the second half. It was so strange to watch. I was sitting there thinking, where's this? Why are we all of a sudden just let them attack us like that? Yeah.
It was a weird one, and I felt like in the second half that the atmosphere in the stadium just turned strange. It was a really weird game yesterday. I don't know if it's because of how I felt, because I had a bit of a rough day yesterday, and I'm still a little bit rough today, but it just felt a little bit, I'm not going to say toxic, because nobody was getting on anyone's back, but it felt very lackluster. I'm not sure whether COVID or stuff like that has made people, I don't know, chant less or want to get excited and stand up and jump around and stuff. Chris, you sit in the North Stand, don't you?
Yeah.
How was the atmosphere in the North?
Yeah, it struggled to get going at times, to be fair. And obviously, I think since we've moved into the Amex, there's not been many occasions where we managed to get the singing going across the whole stand. Unfortunately, there's pockets of singing under the police box end, and then we've got pockets of singing at the scoreboard end, and it's frustrating because we're in the middle and you hear the different songs starting at the same time. And I think we just need to coordinate ourselves better to make sure that we are one voice behind the goal. And like you say, I think whether we were complacent or we felt we could just turn up and we were going to roll Newcastle and it'd be an easy 3 points, but it just shows that what an impact the supporters can have when we're getting behind the team. We probably needed that in the second half to give the boys a lift, because it did feel levels dropped off slightly, and it probably that lift they needed from the supporters to just see them through and potentially get that second goal. But as it turned out, it was very nervy towards the end of the game after the sending off and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. That moment, the moments where we do drop our levels put us in really awkward positions, and obviously put us in the position that Sanchez had to make that decision whether to let Callum Wilson run through and hope that Duffy and Dunk got back to block the shot, or do I take him out? And I posted a tweet on Twitter which has gained quite a lot of traction. I asked whether he made the right decision. And for me, absolutely, it saved us a point. But what do you think, Dan? Do you think Sanchez should have let it run and see if Dunk or Duffy got there, or do you feel like that was his only choice?
I think if you're in his mind, you sort of look at the situation and go, would I risk a goal and then be losing the game, then be thinking, if I go in, get a red, whatever happens after that happens, and then at least then we've got a point anyway. And then see at the end, it's made it look like he has made the right decision, because we can still end up with a point, even with him being sent off.
Yeah, definitely. When Curtis's thing's going weird. He's having a lot of technical difficulties at the moment. He's not on his usual setup, so I don't know what's going on there, mate. Come on. It was a awkward situation for him to be put in. I think it was a loose pass by Cucurella that allowed Newcastle to sort of get us on the break. And then away Wilson went, and in that split second, God knows what's going through a player's mind. And then Lewis Dunk had to make his second appearance in goal for the first time in I think 5-6 seasons. I think the last one was David Stockdale getting sent off, was it?
I think
I'm
so.
not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether he got sent off.
Yeah, I think from what you want from your goalkeepers, you want them to make a decision and not be indecisive, and that's exactly what Sanchez did. He was sweeping high outside of his box. As it turned out, obviously the free kick was 10 yards outside our area. So to commit that foul at that point, the danger was well clear of our box from the resulting free kick. So, I mean, obviously we're going to lose him for, I don't know how many games we're losing for now, but I think the decision he made, to your point, was the right one. And basically, he took one for the team, which, as it turned out, it did save us a point at the end of the day. So,
yeah, for sure. I think it's only one game.
One game, okay.
Yeah, I think Dunk got sent off for the same thing last season. And he was already on his second red, so his was 2, so I would imagine it would be 1.
Okay.
That's what I saw on Twitter anyway. And I'm going to take my sources from whoever tweeted that, so thank you very much. It seems strange to talk about a man of the match because it was a little bit of a lackluster performance. But I am going to ask, Dan, who was your standout?
From watching it at home, I was the only one I sort of can think it had any sort of looked any good really from start to finish was Lamptey. It was nice to see him back into the starting lineup, even though it was only for I think 75 minutes. Every time he had the ball, he just making things happen, doing things that we've probably been missing before. He looked good. Obviously, when he went off, obviously he's obviously not ready to go the whole 90 yet. It's understandable. Yeah. He's electric up and down that pitch. But
exactly.
He was definitely one when I thought was probably one of the better ones. Standouts.
Yeah, for sure. It did look like a planned substitution. When players come off on like around a 75-minute mark or a 60-minute mark, it always seems to be planned. Lamptey's been out for God knows how long. What, 11 months? I'm not even sure. Very, very long time when it was only meant to be 4 weeks. So that was strange. Chris, who was your standout?
Yeah, I agree. Lamptey was pick of the bunch. I think Trossard played quite well up front again in that kind of false number 9 position. So I'll say they're probably the two standout, and obviously Dunkey at the back again was his usual high quality performance there. First half it did feel it was just too easy for us. We were so comfortable, but obviously what is either said by their manager and the adjustments they made picked them up a level, and obviously we dropped off second half. But I would say Lamptey was probably the pick of the players for us.
Yeah, for sure. I watched a Callum Wilson interview after the game, and he said that at half time that the manager was able to make a few tweaks, and they decided to press us a little bit higher up the pitch, and make sure that we weren't able to play to our strengths. And to be fair, they were making us hoof it long. And when you're trying to kick it long to the likes of Trossard, Malpe when he come on, Alexis McAllister obviously came on for Mwepu at half time. You're not going to win much against the likes of Clark and Lascelles in the Newcastle side. So, maybe a masterstroke from their manager to get them a point there. I think Newcastle fans would maybe say that they should have had all three. Obviously, after the Sanchez sending off, if Wilson could have got away from him, then maybe. But I think we should be a little bit fortunate that we've come away with a point there. So, yeah, it's all good stuff. Well, not good stuff, but obviously we'll take it on to the next game against managerless Aston Villa. Now, after the international break, obviously Dean Smith today has been relieved of his duties. A bit of a strange one there. Jack Grealish tweeting that he's one of, or if not the best manager. Now he's playing under Pep Guardiola. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, that'll be another really strange test. It's always weird coming up against teams that have, moving on to different things and in that transition period, because you never know what you're going to come up against. Obviously, they've had a really poor start to the season, and it'll be really interesting to see who they get in. I saw a tweet saying that Graham Potter is a boyhood Aston Villa fan. So if they come for him, maybe that might be a little bit of a rough decision. But yeah, I think they'll have to pay quite a bit of money to get him away from the helm at Brighton and offer him some crazy what do you call it? What am I trying to say? Something to build at Aston Villa, but I don't think there is anything to build there. They've got a team of very expensive players who need motivating, and I'm not sure Graham Potter's that manager, but maybe I'm trying to put him off. I don't know.
Yeah. He doesn't strike me as a manager where his heart rules his head, to be honest. So I'd be surprised if he did go to Villa.
Yeah, hopefully. We can hold on to him. Obviously, Mwepu came off at half time. I'm not sure whether that was an injury. He didn't seem to be injured going into the halftime break. Wonder what's gone on there. And I felt like when he came off, our performance levels dropped big time. With McAllister coming on, I normally rave about McAllister and say that he's one of our most creative players, but didn't really create much. So I think we spoke about it a little bit in the live stream before the game, Chris. How much impact can Mwepu have on our team if he stays fit?
Yeah, I mean, he's I think the last 3 or 4 games, as we talked about on Friday, he's been excellent, and his levels have stepped up. Like you said, he was a little bit shaky when he come on in the Leicester game. He looked like a yard off the pace, but obviously the coaching team have seen that and they've stepped him up, and he seems to be a very accomplished player now, and he's having a positive impact on both our strengths in the attack and also the engine that he has in the midfield area as well. So yeah, it's no coincidence when he come off that our levels did drop slightly. So it'd be interesting to understand if it was tactical or in fact he might have picked up an injury. I don't know if Graham did mention anything after the game about him, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure. And Dan, you went to Anfield. Obviously saw that incredible Mwepu goal from behind the goal. How was that? And how good was he that day?
It was very good. It was. I say, I've tweeted a few times on Twitter saying, Graham Potter is the master hacker of the computer. He's a different player, completely.
Yeah.
He's. When he first started, he didn't seem like all the hype about him was that good, and all of a sudden, there's this player, and yeah, the goal was special. I didn't really see who hit it. After I saw him running back, and people were saying that it was in Webster. I was like, blimey, that must have been quite far out to do it. It's just it's a shame that I think I did see a video about an hour or so after the game that he was limping away to go home, so he must be injured. I don't know what sort of injury, but he was limping. But there's a shame if he is out for a while because he was starting to become a bit of form.
Yeah, maybe it's fallen at the best time possible. With obviously the international break now, if it's just a knock, that hopefully he can get over it within that time and be back for Aston Villa. I feel like he has, over the last few games, proven why he should be, one of the first names on the team sheet, because his energy, his strength, his pace is just something to be desired in a team, especially in the Premier League. Such a physical league. I know a lot of players take a lot of time to adjust to the league. Talking about players adjusting to the league, he's been in the league for 3 seasons now, but he seems to be playing to the qualities of a real good attacking talent, Leandro Trossard. Obviously got a goal yesterday from the penalty, won the penalty. Maybe didn't have the service that he needs yesterday throughout the rest of the game. But yeah, what did you make of the penalty incident, Dan? I know you said that he was clearly clipped and it took a while. So what was VAR doing?
It just kept replaying it. It's just obviously standing there with his finger against his ear, listening to whatever they were looking at. And I was looking at it going, you can clearly see he's put his foot out. There's contact between the leg and his leg and his leg. And then when I went to look at it, obviously I think they replayed it 2 or 3 times then. I was like you can see it. There's contact there. Surely this is a penalty. It's strange how VAR sometimes can take such a long time, even though it's sort of. But to me, it was obvious. But they obviously want to make sure it's the correct decision.
Everyone wondered what was going on in the stadium. Obviously, they don't show it on the screens. Chris, you were obviously behind the goal that it happened. Did you think it was a penalty initially? Did you get a good view of it?
Yeah, we saw straight away he was clipped. And we were scratching our heads why the referee didn't actually blow up at that point. So it was so obvious he'd been pulled down. And I think, you need to understand why the ref is reluctant to make those big decisions, because it was the same with the Callum Wilson. You could see he was clipped. So what is the ref relying on the VAR to come in and mop up the decision making, or is he feeling scared to make that call? But yeah, I mean, as soon as it went to VAR, we knew it was going to be given. It's just a shame the referee was a bit more decisive.
It was a bit of an odd one because he'd done the same thing for the red card.
Yeah.
And he didn't blow up for that. And Wilson was clearly fuming on the side of the pitch. And then obviously the next break in play, we're seeing a red card brandished to Sanchez. We talk about, or a lot of people talk about, the consistency of VAR. If you're looking at the consistency of it, obviously the incident that happened at Carrow Road with Neil Maupay, Tim Krul, is that pretty much exactly the same incident, but a little bit closer to the goal? And yeah, should Krul have seen a red card? So the inconsistency is baffling, Chris.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems to be a slightly different process with each referee around who am I going to make that decision, or am I going to let it go to VAR for there to be an ultimate decision made with the use of the video technology. And yeah, again, to Tim Krul, that was another clip on the ankle. And when you look at the way that Maupay went down, you could tell he was clipped because he was still trying to stay on his feet, but obviously the clip and the momentum knocked him off his feet from the challenge. And I think sometimes the ref needs to read the kind of the motion of the player's body as well as the actual contact to understand that actually, he was clipped, and the way he's gone down is, you've seen him go down in that way. So,
yeah. For sure. Dan, do you think the same? Like, how much are referees reliant on VAR these days to clear their name almost?
They do. They seem to like to. Since the VAR has been put in, I do think that a lot of times they sort of rely on it to help them more, even though they should be doing their own job themselves on the pitch. Because it's like I think I remember seeing one somewhere like you see in the replay that he was in the shot. So you can see him basically looking at the challenge while looking on the TV screen of him looking at the challenge. I think they need to sort of try and do their job on the pitch, and then if somebody wants to say, actually, I think you need to relook at this, they go, okay, maybe I will. Then people will, I think, be more pro VAR, but until that probably happens, people are going to be indecisive about everything about this technology.
Yeah, for sure. An interesting one. I don't know if you guys watch rugby, but I've always wondered what it would be like if we were able to hear the referees like we can in rugby, and how much clarity that would give fans, and maybe lessen the abuse that referees get. Because I know that is quite toxic. You know, that at the end of the day, they're only men doing their jobs, or women doing their jobs. You know, so. What do you think, Chris? Do you think that would be a good idea for people to hear what the referee's saying?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea, because obviously you want to understand the thought processes that are going into these decisions, whether it's from the ref or from the video ref, and that clarity is needed, because, like you say, we were in the stadium for both decisions and we weren't sure what was being reviewed, when the contact on each player happened. So you're in the stadium for 15, 20, 30 seconds, maybe even longer, just wondering what the hell's going on. So yeah, if there was some audio and you got to understand what the refs are discussing, then yeah, that just offers a more transparent understanding of actually their process and what's happening there.
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't think I've ever watched a game of rugby. It's a little bit off topic, this, but I don't think I've ever watched a game of rugby and been angry, like really angry with the refereeing decision, because I've heard their side of the story. And at the end of the day, they're the people that know the game the best. And you sort of have to go with it. You know, their perspective is gospel, really. Dan, do you agree? I know you watch a lot of rugby.
Yeah. A lot of times it's so refreshing when you watch rugby with how they have theirs. It's sort of like you sit there and you sort of like, they go, right, I'm looking at this, I want to look at that, I need to look at this again. If there's many different things they want to see it in, it's the first instant before they go to the second one. It's a lot more. I think they've had it a lot longer. They obviously know how to use it. I don't think it's necessarily for time for football to sort of take the same route. But I think it's sort of like we need to find the right balance to try and see if we can at least incorporate maybe the rugby side into the football, or at least I think hearing the referee side would be definitely helpful, especially with those fans in the stadium, because literally everyone's like going, "What's going on? We don't know."
Yeah,
no
for
one
sure.
knows.
I've always said that football should take a few pointers from rugby. You know, that the likes of how much respect the referees have in rugby, where I think it's only the captains and the people who have committed the offence can actually talk to the referee. And if anybody else does, then they're shown a yellow card and they're put in the sin bin. I'm not saying we should introduce a sin bin, because that would be ridiculous. But I think there should be that level of respect that referees have. But at the same time as well, that maybe sometimes referees don't earn that respect from players, and maybe take the limelight for themselves. Obviously, it's a much bigger stage refereeing a Premier League game than it is a Gallagher Premier League Premiership game in rugby. So maybe the referees have a little bit of an ego. I know a lot of players, ex-players, have spoken about a few referees that have that little bit of an ego, like Mike Dean, etc. We all know what he's like to Brighton. But yeah, maybe some things need to be put in place, and yeah, maybe take a few pointers from rugby. Just moving on to maybe a little bit of a tough decision that Graham Potter has now with Adam Webster coming back into the side. Obviously, three centre backs that are, I think, very capable: Veltman, Dunk, and Duffy. But for me, Adam Webster is one of, if not maybe our best centre back, alongside Lewis Dunk. Where does he fit in? Does he come straight back into the team, Dan?
It's hard because Webster is a decent centre back. Like we have. If when Dan Burns fit, he's probably maybe all of them all are just to an extent different ways all could fit into that team. But as I was looking at last night's lineup, really, in a way, Lamptey, who we thought would be a wing back, was more of a winger. So obviously we could incorporate, maybe obviously if Webster is injured, maybe using that extra back to put Veltman as behind Lamptey instead, and put Webster back in the squad that way. But other than that, I don't know. It's a hard decision. It's a very hard decision. I'm glad I'm not making it myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, thank God we're not Graham Potter, because we've got quite the array of centre-backs. Chris, where do you rank Adam Webster? Is he up there as the best, or do you think he could push on to be our best?
Yeah, I rate him really highly. I think he needs to come straight back in as a third. Well, one of the three centre backs. He offers you something different. The way he can progress the ball out of defence is we don't really have that in with any of our centre backs. Obviously, Dunkey's very capable of doing that, but he's more in that kind of quarterback role. So yeah, I think with the way that we want to build and progress out of the back, Adam Webster's a key component of that passing style. It's a shame he got injured when he did, because I think from the back end of last season and into this season, I would, obviously it's quite a big shout, but I think he would be knocking on the door of an England call up with how he's very accomplished with the ball at his feet, and he's obviously a very good defender as well. So yeah, I think he needs to come straight back into the team.
Yeah, we all know that's a trait that Gareth Southgate, like I was about to say Graham Potter, but of course he likes that. Yeah, Gareth Southgate likes a defender that's more than capable with their feet. So God knows why he's got Tyrone Mings in there, but that's for him to decide. Thanks for that, guys. That was a really good recap of the game, and I think a lot of really good points covered. We've got obviously Aston Villa coming up after the international break. As we mentioned, managerless, so maybe a little bit hard to give our predictions. But Chris, what are you thinking? Is that going to be 3 points on the road?
Yeah, well, again, we'd like to hope so. It just seems the Achilles heel we have is playing teams that are in that kind of bottom six, and we don't get the points that we feel we should get on paper. So it'd be interesting to see what state the squad's in at that point. With injuries and obviously people coming back, how Villa would be set up, if they have someone in charge at that point. Again, it'd be interesting. So yeah, I'd like to think we can go there and get a win. I think I've been there twice now and we've ended up drawing and losing when we should have won. So yeah, it's a bit of a it's not a happy hunting ground for us at Villa Park, but I'd like to think we change that this time.
Yeah, what are you going for a score? I'm going to press you for a score.
Yeah, I'll go for a 2-1.
2-1 win. Lovely.
Yeah,
okay, we'll happily take that. Dan, are you off to Villa Park?
Not this time.
No.
Not this time.
Fair enough. What are we thinking then? Are we gonna come away there happy, or would you settle for a point? What are you thinking?
For me, I sort of think with it's that thing though, isn't it? It's sort of like you think managerless at the moment. They don't know who's going to bring it in. It's sort of they'll bring someone in, and then they'll definitely want to be playing for that manager, and it'd be hard. I think the way results go, we should really go there and get a result. I think 2-1 as well. Hopefully we can get something out of that game at least.
Let's hope. I'm going to be the negative Nelly here and say that we're going to get a draw. I won't say we'll lose, but I'm just going to sit on the fence and say a draw. As you both of you said, it's really hard to call, managerless. So yeah, let's say 1-1. Let's stick with that. Thanks guys. Chris, again, thank you for coming on. Really late notice as well. We did have one other guest lined up, so really appreciate that. And Dan, obviously best of luck with the new baby and everything. We didn't mention that, but Dan's just how old now, Dan?
2 weeks today.
2 weeks today. Wowzers. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations, no.
right in the mix of it, mate.
Yeah.
Ours just turned 16 weeks. So yeah. It's it's good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Best of luck. And yeah, I'll chat to you both soon. We're just gonna play the outro, if I can find it. And then yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, Joe.